Okay. Okay. So I'm really excited to film today because it's something I've been putting off for a while. And you guys know that I have filmed a lot in the past, and that was probably 4 or 5 years ago where I would frequently post. But I feel like I want to get back into it. And I feel like I always say that. And then I film something and I don't end up posting it. But like this time, like I'm going to post it no matter what because it's going to be great, and I have confidence in myself. Basically, today I'm going to talk about my experience being vegetarian. My 1 year being vegetarian is coming up in about 2 weeks. I just wanted to talk about like my experience with it, my transition, and any tips that I would have. And so I looked up on Google like questions that are typically asked about veganism and plant based diets. I follow along with this YouTuber named Samantha, and she posted a video. Yeah, I think it was like she titled it something like "How I Don't Eat Meat Anymore." So I'm going to go through her questions and also answer those. So for me, I always grew up being an extremely picky eater. Basically, I never liked ham, turkey, pork, very like it had to be a very specific kind of chicken that I could eat. I hated fish, tuna, salmon, couldn't do any of it. Growing up, I would usually only eat like red meats. I was really into cheeseburgers. I love hot dogs. I'd eat some bacon. If I had sausage, it'd have to be like a certain kind of sausage, and it would have to be like really burnt, which is like also weird. So I was always the person at Thanksgiving that would be eating the sides. Like I really I would never eat the turkey because I hated turkey. So I was always like, Mom, please have mac and cheese. Like, I want mac and cheese. So, like, I'd always be eating, like, the mac and cheese, the stuffing, the mashed potatoes, like, all that good stuff. Like, we all know those sides. Those sides can get you. So, but yeah, so I always knew that I was like a picky eater. I guess it just really made sense for me to transition into being plant-based slash vegetarian. I know that there has been research found that red meat is like probably one of the worst meats for people's health. And so I kind of had that at the back of my mind. Honestly, I'm not even going to lie to you. I think I learned that from Khloe Kardashian because she had like mentioned that on Keeping Up with the Kardashians at some point. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die because all I eat is red meat. So I was like, I can't eat red meat anymore. I kind of went cold turkey while a lot of other people will transition with it, which is completely like fine. It's up to you. I think it was a lot easier for me in my situation just because like I already didn't like a lot of the meats that were like accessible to me. So it was easy to just be like, okay, I didn't like them before, so I don't have to worry about them. I like how Samantha in her video, she talks about how it's okay for you to do a slow transition and labels don't really matter. It's okay if you want to be vegan and mostly plant-based but still eat cheese sometimes because we don't have to mold to the society standards that we have for these certain like plant-based diets.
A lot of people say things like, oh, I could be vegan except for cheese, or like I could be veggie except for bacon or whatever. Then do that. Be veggie except for bacon, be vegan except for cheese. Like I really do feel like being more conscious is a good decision and the right decision. And if that means that you're still going to be keeping cheese around or fish around or whatever, then do that. And that may change for you down the road. You might decide to cut that out later on, or you might not. You've lived more consciously and you've reduced harm by cutting out anything that you know is like not helpful for our world together.
For me, I like to say I'm a veggie. I'm a vegetarian. I still respect all vegans and veggies and pescatarians and whatever you like. I think like it's okay if you still want to be plant-based but still eat cheese. So I was thinking about it this morning, and I think the biggest thing for me was my skin. I noticed my skin cleared up a lot. I think it's also because I don't ever drink dairy milk. I always buy any kind of nut milk, like soy, oat. Well, I guess oat's not nut, but soy, oat, almond. Like I only always buy nut milk. Basically, I don't have breakouts anymore. And that's pretty much it. Like I don't know if it's with my age. I do drink a lot more water nowadays, but I think honestly with my health, my skin has cleared up. And in the past year, I've noticed it's been the clearest it's ever been. But the other thing that I have noticed was, this is going to sound strange, but I'll explain, was a slowdown in my weight gain. I went on the birth control pill when I was 16 years old. I'm now 21, turning 22 in July. So what, that's like almost five-ish years. So every year since I had gotten on the pill, my weight progressively increased. And every year that I would gain weight, it would be around like 10 to 15 pounds. Like it was like a steady increase. And only did I really notice it was when I came to college and I was pretty much on my own. And making my own foods. I went through a breakup. I was going through a rough 2 years after that. Not rough, it was just like a lot of ups and downs. There was a period that I did go off my birth control pills and stopped like getting them refilled at the pharmacy, and then I was unprotected and it just wasn't like a good situation for my health. Then I ended up going to my local gynecologist in Gainesville, and she was like, okay, so you're not protected right now. We either need to get you on a pill today, or you can get an implant or an IUD. And so she was talking to me about this implant, and she was like, it goes right in your arm and it stays in there for 3 years. You don't ever have to worry about pills or medication or anything. So yes, I did end up getting the implant. It hurt like a motherfucker, but I can talk about that in another video. So yeah, I have the Nexplanon. I think maybe I can show it. This is so weird. People hate when I show it. And my weight continued to increase even with this implant, because like I think when the pills, I decided to stop taking them, I was like, I don't want to keep gaining weight, like this is ridiculous. Then she had me get on the implant and I was like, okay, well I'm still gaining weight, like I just don't want to be on birth control anymore. It seemed as though when I did transition to be vegetarian that the weight gain slowed down. So it didn't totally stop. I still do gain weight with the birth control implant, but it just hasn't been as much as it has in the past 5 years, which I guess is a good thing. I mean, ultimately, I would love to stop gaining weight, but like at the end of the day, like this is just how it is. And I could be really hard on myself and like work out all the time and eat like a really clean diet, but I don't think that's realistic for me and my lifestyle, and it's not realistic for a lot of people. I believe like inside that I do feel like my healthiest at this moment in time, and I think at the beginning of being vegetarian I was hoping I would lose weight, but that's not always the case, and I've kind of had to accept that I can't just do things for the hopeful result that I will lose weight. So yeah, it's just how it is. I've been raised in a household that has been obsessed over how you look and obsessive with eating, and it's been a journey to try to get out of that obsessiveness and get into a state of mind where like I feel healthy, even how I look. I'm still comfortable with how I look, and I so love myself, and it's a day-to-day battle, but that's just how it is. So for me, protein really comes from seeds. So I really love pumpkin seeds. Like this morning, I had a bowl of granola, and I did pumpkin seeds and blueberries and chia seeds, and that was yummy. Also, like any nut butters, I'm personally not a lover of almond butter. My mom really likes almond butter, but I really love peanut butter. I love to do peanut butter and jelly. I love peanut butter and apples, peanut butter on celery, like peanut butter in a smoothie. Also hummus. I've recently started eating more hummus, specifically like dipping it in my veggies, because like for whatever reason, I try to like whenever I try to eat veggies, like I don't want to like season it and make it actually taste good. It almost feels like a punishment, but I'm trying to like get in the mindset that like vegetables can taste good. I've been seasoning it with garlic powder. I love garlic powder. Hummus, ranch. I love ranch. All the works. I know nut milks, almond and soy, those have some protein in them. I do drink those on a daily basis. And then for vegetables, I know broccoli and spinach has a good amount of protein in it. I do watch this girl on YouTube. Her name's Abby Sharp. She's a dietitian, registered dietitian, and she does like food reviews of other people's like what I eat in a day. And she was talking about how like quinoa, lentils, and chickpeas are also really good proteins that vegetarians and vegans can implement. I think I'm gonna at some point try those. The other kind of protein that I get is like meat alternatives. So I really like gardenias, ground, beefless ground. It also like just holds on to seasoning really well, which I've just recently noticed because like I was making a pasta sauce the other night and I was using the beefless ground. And I put like Italian seasoning, garlic powder, and chopped garlic and onions. Oh, and it tasted so good. And I put that with like whole wheat pasta, penne pasta, and it was such a good pasta. It was so good. I'm very good at making pasta. So yeah, I really like those beefless grounds. I think it's gardenia that they also make like a sausage link that I like, but it has to be cooked a certain way for me to be able to like it. So my favorite places to grocery shop at the moment are Publix and Walmart. In Gainesville, there's Publixes everywhere, and there's two Walmarts in Gainesville. I usually go to the North Gainesville one because I live kind of in northwest Gainesville, so it's just like easier for me to get up there. But I also think that Publix has a lot better produce, even if like their meat alternatives aren't the best like selection, like if they don't have a lot, their produce is always really good. And then Walmart, they always have really good non-perishable items that are pretty cheap, and they have a really good selection of their like meatless alternatives in their freezer section, which I appreciate. And then my partner, he really likes to go to Aldi's, so sometimes I'll go there because they have really, really, really cheap ingredients and really cheap like non-perishable pantry items. They also have a really good selection of frozen meals, like frozen meals that I haven't seen before, and those are like also really affordable. I know this is always like a question with a lot of transitioning meat eaters to vegetarian or vegan, because of course we always like our fast food. Who doesn't? My favorite is Burger King and Taco Bell. Specifically Taco Bell, they literally have like a whole menu that they just put out recently just for like vegan vegetarian people. So the black bean Crunchwrap Supreme is phenomenal, and I add onions and red strips to it. But I also feel like Taco Bell really seasons their black beans really well, and yeah, I just really like going there. Their nachos and cheese is really good, and it's just like a good alternative if I'm not feeling like cooking that night. And Burger King, they have their Impossible Burger. Their Impossible Burger is so good, and I always get extra onions and pickles on it, and it's just phenomenal. If it's not fast food and I'm just like looking for a restaurant to go to in town, Blaze Pizza has an amazing selection of vegetables to put on your pizza, and they also have chorizo. So I looked it up, and chorizo is a soy styled sausage, but how Blaze does it, they like crumble it. I love Blaze. I have to tell myself like I at least can have Blaze once a week, if not every other week, because it's just so good. And like their ingredients are just like fresh, and like their pizzas are like the perfect amount, and like sometimes like I'll eat the whole pizza, sometimes I'll save half of it, but it's like, oh, and it's even better when it's like leftovers from the night before. And the other place that I sometimes like to go to, not as much as Blaze or Burger King or Taco Bell, is Chipotle. Yeah, because Chipotle has sofritas, which is like, I think it's similar to the chorizo, but it's like a meatless option, and it's really good in bowls or burritos, but it's a very spicy, so I don't ever recommend putting extra hot sauce on your little dish. But yeah, overall, I think that it has been a lot easier for me. I think that in the future, I would like to transition to being vegan. I think that I would do it just for the health reasons, not necessarily for ethical reasons. It's not something that really weighs on my heart a lot. And, you know, I totally respect people that like it does weigh on their heart. They're gonna continue to be vegan because of those reasons, but for me personally, I just do it for health reasons. And then any tips I would have for somebody that's thinking about transitioning is always have a support system. So my partner had an experience with being vegetarian in the past, and I think he did it for like a couple years. And so he had a lot of resources that he was able to give me and advice and stuff like that. So that was always nice. Also, I would recommend like researching in your area different markets and grocery stores that like have the alternative meat options. I think those are really nice for when you're transitioning. I would also like buy a calendar and make it like your meal plan calendar for the week. I've done this a couple times in the past, and basically I would just write on each day like, okay, this day I want to make pasta, this day I want to do this day I want to do that. Whenever I would cook things, I would always cook a lot of it, and then I'd put it in Ziploc baggies and then I'd freeze it because you can de-thaw them really easily. And yeah, always like buy your produce from a place that you know has like good produce. Try to buy in season, because I know that if you buy produce in season, it's a lot less expensive. I would also recommend like sometimes posting like on Instagram or Snapchat just to show people like the meals that you're making, because like sometimes you'll get nice affirmation from that, and it'll continue to push you to make cooler recipes and like get advice from other people. So I would sometimes do that, and people would be like, oh, you know, sometimes I like to add this, or oh, have you tried this person's recipe, blah blah blah. So okay guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful. I just really wanted to talk about like my experience with being vegetarian. I do continue to be vegetarian, or I do plan to continue to be vegetarian. And I'm excited to try new recipes and all that jazz. Down in the description, I will list some of the people that I find inspiration from, and people that like I watch on YouTube that inspire me to do vegetarian recipes, vegan recipes, etc., etc. So yeah, I plan to make more videos again in the future, and if anybody has any recommendations, please throw them my way. Otherwise, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. Say bye. Bye.